Hey, welcome in.
Welcome to the Arrowhead Addict podcast.
We are here coming to you live.
The Kansas City Chiefs are going to the Super Bowl. You only win a Super Bowl 2 times every 5 years, right? Oh! The warm-up act is over. Let's bring in Melissa Etheridge, massive Chiefs fan. Melissa,
Super Bowl champion, 2-time Pro Bowler, and Trent Green. Trent Green, how you doing?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
And he picked it up! He picked it up! He's gonna score!
and we'll see you next week. But until then, as always, go Chiefs. Welcome into the Arrowhead Addict podcast, Chiefs post-game show. It is a victory party, boys and girls. The Kansas City Chiefs take care of business in a heart-stopping win over the Baltimore Ravens, 27-26. We're going to break it all down for you. Patrick Allen here with you. Price Carter, my guy, Sterling Stewart Holmes here as well. Fellas, by the hair on their chinny chins, the Kansas City Chiefs escape. Sterling, kick us off just with your initial reaction. What'd you think of that one?
Overall, offense looked pretty darn good. There were a couple of head scratchers out there. That decision to punt on fourth and a few when you're on their 40. Of course, it goes into the end zone because why not? Overall, I think I'm enthused, though, by where the offense could be, where it's trending, where it's going. This was a great start. Rashee Rice was nearly unstoppable over the middle. Mahomes had one horrendous throw, but overall, Mahomes looked Mahomesian. Offensive line, up and down, but Kingsley, I think, held his own as a rookie against a really good Ravens defense. And then Xavier Worthy getting involved. Man, is he electric. It's not just 40-yard speed. It's game speed, and that was on full display defensively. I kept telling everyone I have a lot of questions about the Chiefs' defense. I have questions about Reed and Bolton, just a lot of guys who have been injured, right? They've been injured. They haven't had a lot of action to try and get right heading into the season. And the Chiefs were saved by a toe. I mean, I'm not a foot guy by any means, but maybe I'm a toe guy now. My goodness, man. They were going for two. At that point, they had all the momentum. The Chiefs' defense was absolutely gassed. We'll talk about it a little bit more about Bolton and some of the concerns I have. Hopefully it's just him knocking the rust off. But yikes, Isaiah Likely. I want to give a shout out to Isaiah Likely. Hell of a game. Likely, phenomenal. Lamar Jackson, for the most part, tip my cap. I mean, what a game for Lamar trying to will his team with a brutal offensive line. But the Chiefs moved to 1-0 at 1-0. That is all that matters. We can talk deep dive about everything. But what really matters is 1-0 against a team that you might have to get that tiebreaker against for the 1 seed when it's all said and done.
Price, I tweeted this during the game. The good news is, and let me know if you agree, I think this is the worst the Chiefs offense is going to be all season, bearing some kind of crazy injuries. You got Worthy and Kingsley playing in their first NFL games, no Hollywood Brown, and they looked easily twice as good as they did at any point last season. What's your reaction to this one?
Yeah, I think that's a really accurate take. I mean, I think this looked exactly like the way we thought it was going to look, right? The Chiefs defense, a little less good than it was last year. Chiefs offense, a lot better. Last year would have been throwing a parade for 27-20, right? And now 27-20 feels like a pretty healthy score for the Chiefs offense. And again, they're doing this without probably their best, one of their top wide receivers in Hollywood Brown. And yeah, Kingsley Suamataia, he looked like a rookie some of those times. There were some rough moments. That's to be expected. It's also worth noting that the Ravens are a multiple defense and have a lot of variance to them, but they don't have that dominant edge rusher. That's not TJ Watt. That's not Myles Garrett. That's not Khalil Mack or whoever. But he held his own. And, there was times in the game that you didn't notice him. And he did well enough for them to score 27 points. And quite honestly, I think there's probably, I counted 3 drops, depending on how you want to chart that Juju Smith-Schuster play in the end zone. That was a tough catch, but you're an NFL receiver. He had his hands on it. He totally could have caught it. The Samaje Perine, it sounds like everyone who was at the game said like he had nothing but green grass in front of him, like he would have went in for a touchdown. So it could have been a lot more. So yeah, it was really encouraging. The Chiefs defense, not quite as encouraging. I'm not sure how much that elbow brace that Nick Bolton weighs or carries on his elbow, like how much it weighs. It might be lead because my guy was struggling tonight moving. And, I want to be careful because like Nick Bolton bashing, it's kind of a sport at times. He does a lot of good things, but he had a rough night with Isaiah Likely. And I think that was kind of taking advantage. And, Justin Reed had his moments too. But overall, I think you're really pleased. I think, probably the other big thing that's just a little bit concerning with the pass rush is it looked like it was Chris Jones and that was about it, right? Like now Lamar Jackson's a really hard guy to rush. You got to keep those gap integrity through the rush there so he doesn't run up the middle. And that's how it was going. If it wasn't for that big chunk at the end there to Rashad Bateman, which congrats to Rashad Bateman, that's like the first thing he did in that game. I don't think that this would have been really close, but they got the big chunk play. And that's like one of the things about Lamar Jackson, right? Is that as they were marching down the field, it was dink and dunk and little runs and stuff like that. And he finally got that big chunk. So it was good to see the Chiefs defense. They did get a stop there, like they made it so they had to take every last second that they had. And that's what ended up getting the stop. But overall, some really encouraging signs for the offense. And yeah, I think you're very encouraged with how this came out.
I want to give a shout out to the boys in the chat, mostly a ton of our members out there with super chats. Our guy Slothy, Conan, what is the greatest pleasure in life? To crush your enemies, to see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentations of their women. 27-20. Let's effing go, Chiefs. It's actually 27-26, unfortunately. Daniel with the super chat as well. Appreciate you, my friend. Secondary needs some work, but I hope with no Lamar receivers aren't left that open. Welcome back, guys. Appreciate you, brother. There's more here. Slothy said, your legs don't work tonight, Lamar Jackson. Why didn't you win? I'm relishing in the trolling. Edric out there says, we're back, fam. Let's fucking go. Can we talk about the holds on 95? Twitter blowing up on Casey Bias on calls all night. And I thought 95 was held on 3 to 4 big third downs. Let's fucking go. We'll get to that. I just want to get more of these super chats because you guys are amazing. Odella, I'm sorry Nick Bolt didn't have a good game. He gets fooled too easily. This was probably a Willie Gay game. And then Mike in Sweden, my guy. I feel like it's been forever. Football is back 1-0. Let's fucking go. All right, tons to unpack there from the comments, things we're going to touch on. I want to get to the defense, Bolton, some of the negatives, but let's start on the positives. This is a victory party. Let's talk about Xavier Worthy. I mean, come on. Like, we already touched on it, but this guy, what I see out there is a playmaker. Right off the bat, a playmaker. That's what you hoped you got when you drafted an Xavier Worthy. And I'm not saying he's Tyreek Hill, but what I'm saying is I'm seeing Tyreek Hill's rookie season in that first game. The way that they were using him, the fact that he makes plays, that he jumps off the screen at you and you're like, oh, that dude's special. He's really interesting. What do you think, Sterling? What do we have here in Xavier Worthy?
Yeah, I hate any time we compare anyone to Tyreek Hill. I'm just going to go ahead and say
I said Tyreek Hill rookie season.
Yeah, I know.
Where he was
I'm
punt
not
returner
doing
gadget
it.
guy.
It's the same way whenever I hear anyone compare him to Mahomes. Let's let it play out a little longer here now, y'all. But no, I was thrilled that they got him the ball in space. I'm thrilled they had a design play for him. Again, you saw the game-breaking speed. It's not just fast for the sake of being fast. It's fast, but it's game fast. I mean, that was just an electric run that he had. Gorgeous. And then the broken play, right? Was it Marlon Humphrey? I want to say he got his head turned for 1 second and he was gone. Broken coverage, and it was just a walk-in touchdown. And what's nice, Mahomes saw him. Mahomes right away, looking that way, great pass, didn't overthink it, easy touchdown. We didn't see that hardly at all last year. It was MVS having those. Was McCole Hardman having those? Was Sky Moore, Kadarius Toney having those? No. And you even saw a couple of times when Worthy didn't get the ball. It was opening up things underneath for Rashee Rice, for Travis Kelce, Noah Gray, a Justin Watson. Again, just the threat of Xavier Worthy opens up so much for this offense. He's already surpassed my early expectations. It's a rookie wide receiver in an Andy Reid offense. My expectations were low. Rashee Rice last year couldn't really break the starting rotation until week 8. But week 1, Xavier Worthy's out there and getting plays designed for him. 2 touchdowns later, I think it is us that are saying we're not worthy.
Yeah, Price, it's funny, right? Because, I was thinking as we were heading into this game, and everybody is excited, right? The Chiefs offense is going to be better. And yes, you've got a new tackle there, but he's a rookie. But I was looking at, the depth chart there, and I'm like, okay, well, without Hollywood Brown, we don't have some of the, there's no Kadarius Toney, there's no MVS, but yes, you have Xavier Worthy as a rookie, but it's a lot of the same guys who were there last year that when this offense was struggling, but it just seems so different. Obviously, Worthy actually made plays, and Rashee Rice is the same guy that he was at the end of last season, and they showed incredible trust and faith in him, going to him over and over and over again. What'd you see out there?
Yeah, I mean, I think the most noteworthy thing, no pun intended there, he caught the freaking ball, right? He was wide the hell open and he caught the ball. I know that's so dumb because, of course he caught the ball. He's a wide receiver, but that wasn't how it was last year. If that's MVS or Sky Moore, they don't catch it. If that's Kadarius Toney, he doesn't catch it. Andy Reid will get you wide the hell open. It doesn't matter if you're 165 pounds. In the NFL, he will get you free releases. I was told by Twitter that all you had to do was press this guy, because there was one clip that went viral from training camp where he got pressed into the ground. That's all you had to do is just press him. Oh, I guess I forgot that they have an incredible offensive mind. They have one of the greatest tight ends of all time. They have a yak machine and Rashee Rice. They have a great running back and Isaiah Pacheco. There are so many ways that they can use him as a weapon. Is he ever going to be a dominant wide receiver one, a go-to, a top 5 fantasy football draft type of guy? Probably not, because of the size. And you saw one of those moments. Mahomes chucked it up to him in the end zone. It was a contested catch situation. He was the small guy, and he looked small there. And guess what? He still had a major impact on this game. And, Sterling was pointed to this as well, how quickly they inserted him into the game. He was, last I checked, at halftime, he was the second leading wide receiver in snaps. That's huge. This is week 1. You're going to add another game-changing wide receiver to the core, and you still have what he brings in the run game. And, I was jabbing Sterling earlier about, whether the vertical, horizontal stretch, if it matters. But, you saw how impactful that was to the underneath. I mean, those RPOs across the middle to Rashee Rice were like bread and butter. They were so easy. It's unstoppable. Whenever they were doing, they were just spamming it. It was like playing a kid in Madden, where they just okay, this play works, I'm just going to keep spamming it. And it worked so well. Rashee Rice, over 100 yards in this game, 107 yards on 7 catches. I think he is in for a huge year. And they did not rely heavily on Kelsey in this game. Part of that's probably Kyle Hamilton, a great cover safety who they probably tasked with covering him. But the other part of that is they don't have to, and that's good. They just got to keep him fresh. So the Xavier Worthy element's really exciting, especially in his first game. And yeah, the chat was talking about touchdown record. I can't remember what it is, but he's already at 2. So that's a hell of a start.
I love it, man. I'm just excited that we've got a guy like that. And then I'm really fired up to see what it's going to be like when Hollywood Brown gets back. Fellas, ladies, if you're watching on YouTube, do us a favor, hit that like button. We want to get as many Chiefs fans in here to celebrate another victory. I want to talk about more of the specifics, but I want to talk widely about the NFL and the Ravens right now, just for a second, because look, man, everybody's sick of the Chiefs, right? Except for Chiefs fans. They're going to be after this one. I mean, talk about brutal for the NFL, for the Chiefs haters, for the Chiefs to win that way on the toe just being on the line, and then for the Ravens, how devastating do you guys think this is for them? Because I think they probably are a little bit encouraged. They went into Arrowhead, they had the Chiefs on the ropes there at the end, but still, yet again, they weren't able to get by Kansas City, and this is a huge blow. If you think these two teams are going for the number 1 seed, it could come down to a quarter of an inch of toe on white paint.
I can get you a toe, dude.
I can
get you a toe.
I don't want to know about it, but you can give me one.
I mean, grand scheme of things, no, it's not a big deal. If you're the Ravens, I think you have to be enthused. I think the Ravens got outplayed a lot in this game. The Chiefs left a lot of points on the board. Yes, the Ravens missed a 53-yarder. I just think the Chiefs played, for the most part, a better football game. And the Ravens had a toe away. They were going to go for 2, and they could have easily walked out of Arrowhead feeling, wow, we stole one. Yeah. We stole one on the road. You know, the offensive line for the Ravens, you have to have some concern. Chris Jones was literally calling people out like, I want him. God, I thought he got held a couple times.
That was so baller. Like, that was just like, no. Like, daddy gets to eat and daddy's eating here. Like, that was it. There was kind of a baller element to that. I'm not going to lie.
Yes, but also for the Ravens, I mean, they got away. I thought Chris Jones got held a few times, is what it is. They were obviously calling a lot of these things that were called against Juwan Taylor last year, so it's nice to see that at least come back in some sort of effect. Although for some reason, sure seemed like Chris Collinsworth completely forgot that was a thing that happened last year. Like, completely forgot that was a thing that he started with Juwan. But of course, now with the Ravens, he understands. It was a weird conversation there, I thought. But yeah, I think for the Ravens, you're somewhat enthused. Isaiah Likely, you found a legitimate 12 personnel guy to go to. They had high hopes for him last year. It was kind of a down year. Didn't step up for Mark Andrews when he went down, but man, that's nice. Early on, that first drive with Derrick Henry was solid. The Chiefs just stacked the box and almost dared Lamar to throw, and of the deep balls, he hit 2. One to Likely that Bolton just did not turn around on, and then the other one was to Rashad Bateman.
Yeah.
I mean, he missed a lot of open throws in that game. I don't know if you're a Ravens fan, if that makes you feel better or worse, but I think overall the Ravens and Harbaugh have to feel, all right, we lost in Arrowhead on banner night to the back-to-back Super Bowl champions. We had a chance. We did not play good football. I think they have to be pretty happy as well.
Shout out to Michelle, my girl Sugar, in the chat. Hey, Patrick, with the super chat. Appreciate you. Old pal from New York. Rhett says, with the super chat, appreciate you, man. Chiefs defense did nothing that last drive. More holes than Iraqi naval ships. Offense has to close the game out now. Can't depend on the defense. And Slothy gifted 20 Arrowhead Addict podcast memberships. You want to become a member of the Arrowhead Addict podcast. You want your chats highlighted. You want to be, I was watching the game in the private Discord, members only Discord. We were chopping up the whole game. The whole crew was in there talking about things. Grab one of those up. And then, there's so many super chats. You guys are amazing, but I want to make sure we talk about some of these things. The defense on the last drive. I wasn't too concerned with the defense in this one myself. I'm interested to hear what you guys thought. Were there some issues? Sure. I thought at the end of that game, Chris Jones was just absolutely gassed. They were double, triple teaming him all game. He was getting chipped, getting beat up, getting held. They did a pretty good job with containing these guys most of the game. They were tired at the end. They're chasing Lamar all over the field. And kind of what they did, in my view, was they knew that these guys were going to be able to run, and they didn't care. They just didn't want to get beat on too many big plays. And it's sort of, they forced Lamar to be what he has kind of always been, which is like the reason why this team is so good, and also simultaneously the reason why they can't get over the hump. Like, he keeps them in the game with these unbelievable athletic plays. He makes some really good throws, and then he misses wide open guys in the end zone. He's just right now. He's not there yet. And I think the Chiefs know that. And I also think they play him differently in the regular season than they do in the playoffs. I just do. But what do you guys think? You worried about the defense, Price?
Yeah, a little, but I think, again, like, it's just going to be a give and take. You're never going to have a perfect roster when you have one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL on a non-rookie contract. And last year, this was a team that could lean on the defense. This is a team that you felt comfortable. We were talking about that punt that basically netted them 20 yards of field position when I think it was 4th and 5 at their 47 or something like that. They chose to punt there. And that's a move last year that I think you would have felt really comfortable with, because the defense was kind of the go-to for this team. You just relied on Pat and Travis and Pacheco and Rice to do enough last year, and the defense was truly the weapon of this. And this year that might not be the case, but there's a little give and take with the offense, right? I think the thing that's probably the most concerning about the defense is just, I think that here in Chiefs Kingdom, we have a perception of our linebackers that Drew Trank was just this awesome cover linebacker, and that Nick Bolton is just this, downhill, a hammer looking for a nail, awesome cerebral leader, and Leo Schnell is a warrior. And Leo Chanel really played well in this game. I want to highlight that because he really did have a great game. And he's always going to have big games. He was also crucial in the Super Bowl because these teams that come out in these heavy personnels and pass, it's asking him to do a lot because they want him on the field because he's not a coverage guy. But teams went at him. Like Justice Hill was pretty impactful in this game, really big on some third downs and was getting the better of Drew Tranquill. Drew Tranquill is a okay coverage backer, but this isn't, Roquan Smith or some high, Fred Warner level coverage backer. So I think teams will target them. And the only other thing I'll say is like, basically tonight it was Zay Flowers and just a hint of Isaiah Likely, right, in the passing game. And that was it. Rashad Bateman got that one pass on what was basically prevent defense. And Lamar Jackson was basically like Bo Nix, right? Like the average depth of target at one point was 1 yard beyond the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
And I think some of that Spags really knows how to cook against Lamar. That's proven. The Chiefs should really be 6-0 against the Raven or against Lamar Jackson if it wasn't for a Clyde Edwards-Helaire fumble. But I think, when you get against a team, when you're playing CJ Stroud and the Texans, and they've got 4 or 5 guys on that wide receiver core, Dalton Schultz, Tank Dell, Nico Collins, Stephon Diggs, like, what is this going to look like then when the corners are stretched more thin? But overall, this is game 1. And we know the Chiefs defense, it tends to get better. They're also missing probably their third best pass rusher in Charles Omenihu. And, when we're looking for positives, there was some slight signs of life from Felix Anudike-Uzomah. Yeah. Not completely lifeless. He recovered a fumble, was there out on his screen. I will give him this. He does get locked up quite often and washed out in the run game, but he continues to hustle and be there. And that's more than you can say for certain players. So that was encouraging. So overall, I would put my level of concern, like for a 1 to 10 right now, it's probably like a 4 or 3. And most of that's based in the offense and Steve Spagnuolo being a dude.
Even Zay Flowers only had 37 yards.
I know, right? Like right? I'm looking at the stat line right now and I was like, oh, Zay Flowers went off in this game. And it's like, no, he was just targeted a ton. Yeah. Zay Flowers actually has less receiving yards than Rashad Bateman in this game and Justice Hill. 6 for 37, an average of 6.2 yards per catch. So
yeah, targeted 10 times, but didn't, he did some damage. He helped him move the chains, but I think you'll take that from their number 1 receiver all day, any day.
If you're a Ravens fan, I think the most concerning thing about this game would be like Derrick Henry might be cooked, actually. Like he looked slow, and I know that this is week 1 and that offensive line is a work in a project. Oh no, dude, he did not.
He got hit behind the line of scrimmage, was able to still pick up a first down on the touchdown run. I mean, the offensive line did him no favors in this game. I mean, the offensive line of the Ravens did him 0 favors.
Yeah, but he's not hitting the holes as fast as he used to. He's still a big dude. When did he
ever hit the holes fast? You're acting like this was his game.
To be fair,
he's always done this.
He's brought in to he's supposed to be one of the best running backs in the NFL. And when has he had a good offensive line in Tennessee? Like what? The last 5 years they've been bad. I don't know. Like my thing is like, if you're a Ravens fan and you're sitting here and telling yourself, how is this offense better this year? You say year 2 of a new offensive coordinator, another step for Lamar as a passer, and we added Derrick Henry. And I'm not sure that that's the addition that they were hoping for. He might not be cooked. I might be a little hyperbolic. Part of it's how he runs. Like they pointed this out. He runs so upright that when he is not going at full speed, it looks bad. And there's a lot of like a hesitation. And yeah, the Chiefs, like they did a great job of stopping him. And I think that's huge. Like if we came into this game and told you that Derrick Henry was limited to just 13 carries for 46 yards and a touchdown, you'd take that every day. So they did a great job with that. I think that was a huge part of it. Lamar had a day on the ground running, but I mean, you've got to choose your poison with the Ravens offense.
I want to give props to kind of an unsung guy who had a really great day because he got a new contract with the Chiefs, and that's Noah Gray. I talked about him in a tweet earlier today, and I said I was reviewing the AFC Championship game, watching that again. I said, they targeted Noah Gray 5 times in that game, and that was the only time that he had 5 targets in a game, with the exception of the first game of the season when Travis Kelce was out. And what does he do in this one? He gets targeted 3 times, catches all 3 of them for 37 yards. When you're getting that from Noah Gray, if you can count on that every couple of games, what'd you guys think of the extension? Are you happy he's coming back?
Yeah, I think the contract was a little funny. We all were expecting Bolton, which after, again, I'm just hoping that the no training camp and the injuries, that he'll knock the rust off, or even saving some of that money to see if you can try and find a way to get a deal done with Trey Smith. End of the day, though, they Chiefs clearly, and Brett Veach clearly values what Noah Gray brings to this team. No, he's not a Travis Kelce replacement, but he is a guy that the Chiefs trust in 12 personnel. They trust that he knows where to be. And Mahomes, again, has a nice connection with him. I'm fine with it. The contract is really only a 2-year contract. Nothing crazy. Again, a little surprising after you drafted a tight end in Jared Wiley. But again, you got to go with Brett Veach at this point, man. I mean, yeah, they're not going to get everything right, but this is not one that's going to handicap the franchise. This is not one that if you get wrong, oh my goodness, sky's falling. No, you brought in a nice rotational tight end and a guy that the Chiefs like. I'm cool with it, giving him an extension.
Yeah, I thought it was a little interesting too. I think this just speaks to, like, we're pretty sure that Travis Kelce's here for this year for sure, and then possibly next year. His contract basically is a 2-year contract. There was a report from The Athletic today that said that he was good for 2 more years. But I mean, if they do 3P, that's a really hard opportunity to walk away from. To bow out there. And I think that this is more just about continuity at the tight end position. The last couple of years, the Chiefs have been more and more dedicated to running heavy personnel with 12 and 13. Obviously, if you would ask me, about 12 hours ago, I would have said Jared Wiley is the succession plan to tight end 2. And they're still looking for that tight end 1. It looks like now that if Kelce were to bow out at the end of this year, celebrating in New Orleans, that Gray would probably be the first option, and Wiley would be in there, and then they have Hendershot. Which, speaking of Peyton Hendershot, I wanted to talk about this post-game quote here from Roquan Smith. He's the guy who tackled Chiefs Patrick Mahomes right there out of bounds. It was kind of a ticky-tacky call that wasn't called. Roquan Smith at the microphone said, when speaking about Chiefs tight end Peyton Hendershot, he better watch himself. I'll see him when I see him. I guess Hendershot was the player that you saw him kind of had a back and forth there on the sideline. I guess Hendershot, who was not active tonight, shoved him or something like that, or said something. But apparently there's some chippiness going on with Roquan Smith and Peyton Hendershot.
I'll tell you what, man.
Don't tackle the dude out of bounds. I mean, that seems like a pretty easy way.
They definitely got away with one there, yeah.
The Ravens got to stop running their mouths, man.
That was more of a penalty to me than the one that was actually called. The one that was actually called, I'm like, I could see that one not being called. Was it not just an instant replay of the play from the AFC Championship game with the Bengals? It was just like a separate side. It was the other sideline. It was like instant replay.
Mahomes was in Kansas when he got shoved. I want to get some more of these super chats, but I do got to say, man, the Ravens got to stop running their mouths. You got Lamar Jackson giving interviews talking about passing the ball before this game, and if he could have run better, they would have beat the Chiefs in the AFC Championship. Like, dude, do something. Do something.
He ran a lot in this game.
You know, at least the Bengals, when they're running their mouths all the time, have actually beat the Chiefs in a meaningful game. Like, the Ravens need to focus on getting a little bit better.
It is very obvious that at this point, like, the Ravens it is very much inside their head, you know, that they can't beat them. This is their Goliath. And I mean, as Chiefs fans, we can totally relate. Like, I wasn't alive during this period, but I know, like, the Broncos used to be that team for the Chiefs when it was Elway. And for me, like, growing up, it was the freaking Steelers, dude. Like, we could not beat the Steelers. No matter what we did, we always lost to the Steelers. There's that playoff game where the Chiefs only held them to field goals the whole time, and they still lost. So
let's cool it on the talking about how you weren't alive during the Elway Broncos. You know, I'm struggling over here. Super chats. Wiley Possum is where we left off. Got to go back up and find it. I lost my place.
Do you need me to do it, Patrick?
I'm there. Wiley Possum says Worthy was great and helped Rice ball out. Hollywood and Worthy together later. Look out. Appreciate that. And then we had a Mason donated $5 as well, saying, excited for our rookies. Taylor was more of a burden than Kingsley in this game. X was eye-opening. Steele played his role. Wish we saw more of Hicks. Want to know? Guy Slothy, he's out there keeping this. We're brought to you by Slothy Style tonight. Patrick, the last touchdown didn't count. Toe on the line. 27-20. Oh, you're right. I got it wrong. There's one thing I love about Slothy is he'll always call me out. He'll always call me out. Not just here in the Discord. He's all over me. And Anthony says, guys, we dropped a banner, got a dub. I even won some cash, and somehow I don't feel great about the win. Convince me I'm full of crap. Oh, you're full of crap. Listen, this is the Ravens. like this is a Super Bowl contender. Like, period. They're going to be there at the end of the year. So I know it's like we are all excited about the new season and the new offensive pieces, and it would be great to come in and just like light these guys up. But like, this is a really good football team. They're really well coached. They're battle tested. They had an axe to grind. I just want to win. Like, beating teams like this, anytime you can beat teams like this in a regular season at home, on the road, you take it and you feel great about it. Like, there'll be games where the Chiefs, this Chiefs team is really good. Like, they're going to beat the crap out of the Raiders probably twice this year. You know, we'll have those games, but these ones, you just take the dub, right?
Yeah, and even some better news. Andy Reid at the microphone just said that Chiefs came out healthy. There were no injuries to report. Everyone who was dinged up did end up returning to the game. So come on the game healthy. You've got 10 days of rest to face the Bengals. And I don't want to look ahead too much, but starting at 1-0 here, I thought that the Chiefs could certainly drop one of these two against the Ravens and the Bengals. But if they go 2-0, looking ahead at their schedule, it's really exciting to think about the opportunity ahead of them. So now they've got 10 days to rest up against a team that, like, will they have their wide receiver one? Will he be limited? It'll be interesting to see as we look ahead to the Bengals.
What's great is the Chiefs are 1-0 while every other team is 0-0. The Chiefs are already up.
Imagine not having a win. Yeah. Like, when was the last time we saw Chiefs last? Christmas?
It reminds me. I got to fire off my the Chiefs had the best record in the NFL tweet here after the podcast.
I'll steal it from you. Don't worry.
How disappointing is it to like watch a Chiefs regular season game? Like, I turn it on, I was like, "Hey, this isn't the Super Bowl. Like, this is just a regular game. Like, come on, I'm used to bigger stakes."
How many games till the Super Bowl?
Yeah,
a couple more supers. Wiley Possum's back again. Says Ravens are good. OD played fine, save for Bolton having a bad night. Everyone else did enough to get the W. Outside of Likely, everyone else was held in check. I think relatively so. Of course, Lamar, you can't really stop him. And then Chris Wright donated $5 and says, rewatch X reverse TD. Watch 83's block after he went in motion. He kicks out Humphrey. Touchdown. One. And then again, Wiley Possum. We're also brought to you by Wiley Possum. Says, let's not forget how good Rice is going to be underneath all year. Baller, 100%.
I said that going into this game. I felt like Rice has been going under the radar. It's all been about Worthy and Hollywood and Travis Kelce returning to form. I'm like, have we forgot that Rashee Rice almost went for a K last year and didn't get any sort of A dot past the line of scrimmage until week 8? Like, his first deep ball that he caught was actually a broken play when he was supposed to be at the line of scrimmage. And he's like, nah, I'm just going to break it and go deep. Like, Rashee Rice has taken on this new role, second year in the system. Mahomes trusts him. Like, he's not in the Travis Kelce circle of trust, but he's definitely number 2 on this Chiefs team. I think before this game, I said he's probably the highest receiving total of any wide receiver. I think Travis goes over a K. I think Rashee Rice was in that 950 area. I'm back to putting Rashee over 1,000 yards this year. He's just, again, going to feast over the middle. Those RPOs are dangerous. And this was, again, against a very good Ravens team. Roquan Smith right there. Didn't matter. Chiefs and Rashee Rice still found a way.
Yeah, I thought the Chiefs brought some good physicality in this game too. They mentioned it on the broadcast. You got to do that against a team like the Ravens. That's how they overwhelmed teams last year. They had so many wins where they just blew teams out and they just bullied them around. And it's really great to see the Chiefs bring a little bit of attitude. By the way, to the guy who said he won some money, I had money on Xavier Worthy, 50+ receiving yards, 2 for 47.
Oh,
I'm dying. I'm dying. Like, why couldn't that touchdown have been a push pass? Damn it, Andy.
Good news is, like, good teams win, great teams win and cover. And the Chiefs, they cover. They cover the 3. It was a 3 or 3.5. They cover either way. Good to see. One thing that, like, I was it goes under the radar. We don't talk about it enough because we just expect greatness. Besides the interception, Patrick Mahomes was just excellent in this game. There were some, this is a great defense. And I know, like, they've lost some pieces. We forget, like, this was the best defense in the NFL last year. And they brought a lot of those pieces back. And there were just some throws in this game that were just awesome moments. And he really was great at stepping up in the pocket. He lost one of his top wide receivers in this game going into it and was just really sharp. He was slinging it all over the yard and some good runs there, like, for the first down. I continued to just, like, we are so fortunate to have him, and I don't let it to go unnoticed, like how good he is. And like we talked about Xavier Worthy actually catching the ball when he was wide open. Pat got it there and he saw it too, right? Like how many times you see on the broadcast where they overshoot a wide open guy or they miss him. So props to him. Another great game from now the Chiefs leading all-time passer.
Supposedly Lamar at the press conference said, quote, "I thought it was a touchdown. I still think it was a touchdown. I think there were 2 feet in," end quote. So apparently he has bad eyes, or he's a liar, or
he's looking at it up on the video board. Like, why talk about
why would Lamar? No, hear me. Why would Lamar, who's last year's MVP candidacy, let's be real now, he's the MVP. Why would Lamar and why would the NFL say, you know what, let's go to the replay booth? Nah, you know what? For shits and giggles, we're going to overturn this. We're just going to overturn it. Let's screw the Ravens.
If you're the NFL, you were having the dream ending. Like,
why would the
if you're there's script writers, those script writers, what they want is you winning the game with no time on the clock at a 2-point conversion, avenging the AFC Championship game, and then you get to pound that narrative all year until these teams play together in the playoffs. Like, he's sorry, man.
He's so hard to even try and root for. Like, he's so hard. What does Josh Allen ever say? When have you ever heard Josh Allen like win? Like, Lamar.
In those comments that you were referencing earlier about him just like, oh, well, I wish I should have just run the ball more. He also references that he wasn't healthy and didn't have fresh legs, which is just like so ironic. Like, yeah, when has Patrick Mahomes ever won a Super Bowl injured, right? Or won an AFC Championship game injured? Last year when he did it on like one ankle. This is why people believe conspiracy theories and these type of things, because it's a way of escaping reality and making themselves feel better. People believe conspiracy theories because it makes them feel smarter. Oh, well, I know the real truth. And they don't want to acknowledge like, hey, the Chiefs might just be the better team. Like they've done this before. They have this championship moxie that has been here for so long. They know how to win these close games. And that's why they always come out on top. We said the same thing about Brady for years. He always gets all the calls and those type of things. And now being on the other side of it, you just realize like, no, they've just done this so much that they know how to execute at that level. And you go back and like watch the last drive of the Super Bowl in overtime. He just goes to a different level and it's just automatic. And being good at winning close games like this and tight moments and big moments, it's a learned skill. It's like public speaking. Like some people get really nervous about public speaking. You do it a whole lot, you get better at it. So it's a cope, honestly. And it's a bad look for Lamar Jackson. You brought up Josh Allen, right? Josh Allen doesn't say these type of things. Those comments, it just comes off as petty. It comes off as crying.
And grapes.
Yeah, like, when Mahomes loses a game, like, Joe Burrow's had his number for a little bit. What do you hear from the podium? I've got to be better. I've got to do a better job of helping my guys win this game. It's on me, those type of comments. And, some of that's cliche coach stuff, but it's that way for a reason, right? So, yeah, not a great look.
I want to give a huge shout out to Evan here because this was very important. Shout out, Evan. Ring of Honor member for 32 months. Dude, awesome. Says if Mahomes doesn't catch his own pass, Ravens get an extra 30 seconds. What could have been? Also, a little fun tidbit, and I hope I win my fantasy game by that 1.28. That's a great call. But it's true. They didn't have any timeouts left. That was a massive extra time by him catching that. 1, not being intercepted. 2, not batting it down. But 3, actually catching it. That was a more underrated part of that game.
It was huge. I mean, I thought of it right in the moment. I was like, oh, please catch that ball, because I knew that it was going to stop the clock. And just going back to what Price was saying, when you're this good, and look, all NFL teams get lucky, right? Like it just happens. Chiefs get lucky sometimes. The Ravens got lucky tonight on plays. The Chiefs got lucky. Chiefs got unlucky on some plays. The Ravens got unlucky on some plays. But the reason the Chiefs keep winning these types of games is because when you're a championship caliber team, you're constantly in high leverage positions in big spotlight. Nobody's talking about like some lucky play that the Titans made last year and being like, the Titans always get all the calls and all the luck because they stunk. Nobody's watching the Titans last year. People are watching the Chiefs, And the Chiefs have an X factor that a lot of these teams don't have, right? Lamar Jackson's not Patrick Mahomes. If he was, he'd have hit the wide open guy in the end zone. The Ravens probably wouldn't have won the game. And he's not. And so he just took them so far. Patrick Mahomes, more often than not, he's going to find a way to make that one extra play. And then other guys are going to lift him up, and they're going to make that extra play too. And it all adds up. And that's how you get a Joe Montana. That's how you get a Tom Brady. That's how you get a Patrick Mahomes. So, all I can say to the NFL haters out there is get used to it, because this is going to keep happening. And sometimes they're going to lose. They're going to not win the Super Bowl one year, and you're going to all be really happy and you'll be thrilled. Debatable. And then he'll probably come back and win 3 more. Because
debatable.
It is.
They're going to eventually not win a Super Bowl. Come on,
it is far fetched at this point. It's starting to feel a little bit impossible. All right, let's just talk a little bit more about the defense before we give out some hardware here. Nick Bolton, up and down. He has these games, right? Though, where he just he seems like he doesn't know what he's doing, and then he'll come back against Cincinnati and look fantastic.
Yeah, I think with him, there's strong suits and weak suits to his game. He also didn't play all preseason. I think that probably showed a little bit here. You saw some of that rust. And also, we continue to I want to make sure when we talk about Nick Bolton that we're being fair on both sides of the coin. There's a lot of things that he does that we don't understand that truly impacted the defense. To go back to that big blitz that Trent McDuffie had from the slot, that was something that Nick Bolton saw on the field and called out to Spagnuolo, and they both agreed it was the perfect call. Helped end up winning the Super Bowl. But yes, there were a lot of moments here. I think the thing that probably is a little bit disappointing with Nick Bolton is that you always took the good with the bad with him, right? There were those plays in coverage, those times when he was taken advantage of, but then you'd have that flash downhill where he'd shoot the gap and bring a guy back in the downfield, or have a really solid tackle that stops someone short of the sticks. It feels like those are happening less and less often, and you're still getting the bad. So obviously it's week 1. We're having a short memory. The defense was incredible last year, so I want to give him his due credit. I like you, Mizzou fans. I promise. I like Mizzou fans. Okay, I promise. But it's a little disappointing. And at this point, not that we're really getting in this conversation, but I think I would be very, very hesitant about handing some mega extension out to Nick Bolton. And I wonder how much of it's injury related. He's had quite a few injuries. He's got some rust. Let's see how it looks the rest of this year. And yeah, I saw someone in the chat reference Willie Gay. This would have been a game that would have been nice to have Willie Gay, a guy who's 6'1", 240, who is a freak athlete out on the edge to help kind of steal that edge from Lamar Jackson. Yeah, I think this is a thing. And Willie Gay had his ups and his downs. Some of that athleticism, sometimes all it did is get him out of position further. So I'm sure he is going to be missed. That was depth that was really nice to have. I'll have to look at the snaps and see if Jack Cochran mixed in at all at the linebacker position, but it'll be interesting to see. But Nick Bolton was a little bit concerning, but I thought, hey, pretty good game from Jalen Watson. Nice play on the ball there to break up that pass. That was huge. For the most part, Chiefs DBs did really good. And Shamari Connor, he had some missed tackles, but also was in a position to at least bat the pass away. Honestly, could have come up with an interception on Isaiah Likely there. Those are good signs. That's what you want to see, right? And I wrote a piece thinking that Jaden Hicks was going to have a huge factor in this game. Silly me. I'm not even sure he saw the field. I didn't see him much, but you're not getting anything from Jaden Hicks right now. So as his role grows, that's encouraging sign too.
Yeah, the spotlight was on Jalen Watson in this game. He panicked early and got the pass interference call that caused the offsetting penalties. All he needed to do was get his head around. I appreciated that the next time he had that opportunity, he did get his head around, had a great stiff arm on the receiver too, by the way, that he may not have gotten away with if he wasn't turned around. So that was great. And I want to say, we talk about the secondary and some of the plays they gave up. The Ravens threw 41 passes in this game. Lamar was 26 of 41. He averaged 6.7 yards per attempt. Now, they were throwing a lot of short passes. They were trying to screen the Chiefs to death, but that's an insane, for contrast, Patrick Mahomes threw for more yards than Lamar Jackson. He attempted 28 passes, completed 20. He threw for 291, Lamar 273. So look, they're in for a whole different ball game next week when they play Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and T Higgins and those boys. But I don't think you can hate on him too much for the performance in this one, facing 40 passes.
I was impressed. That was my biggest concern. And it wasn't really them. It was kind of the linebackers, as we alluded to more or less. Watson, Williams, for the most part, they impressed me. As the game progressed, I thought they got better early on. I think it was Watson who got a little handsy with Zay Flowers, got the pass interference call. Didn't think it mattered. I think it got taken off the board because it was one of those illegal formations that the Ravens had a lot of, especially early on in that game. I thought Najee Johnson did a great job on special teams. That tackle was massive on the punt return. And then McDuffie was, for the most part, Trent McDuffie, that fourth down play. McDuffie, he was McStuffy. I mean, that is a calling card of a Spagnuolo and a Dave Merritt Chiefs defense is your cornerbacks are going to tackle. You're going to have a situation where they're one-on-one with a chance to make a play. Most corners don't make that play. Chiefs corners, they do. I was impressed overall.
All right, we got to give out some hardware and get out of here. We know it's been a late night for everybody. So it's time for Earning Their Arrowheads segment we like to do. If you're new here, it is exactly what it sounds like. Old callback, one of the only good things that I took from the Todd Haley era, which his version of Earning Your Arrowheads was stupid. He made guys wear blank helmets during training camp and earn their arrowhead on the team like he was dealing with high school players. But I liked the idea of earning your arrowhead. So I stole it for a column I used to write on Arrowhead Addict, and we do it here now after the games. We give out some hardware. So you can do more than one player. Who earned an arrowhead for you, Sterling?
Leo Chenal. I thought Leo was incredible in this game, getting his hands up in the passing lanes, coming downhill. I thought overall Leo played great. He looked the best of all the linebackers. He flashed so much in this game. I didn't know how he was going to fit into the Chiefs system this year. I didn't think is obviously a clear 1-for-1 with Willie Gay Jr. Both are extremely athletic, but both are different. Leo's more of a north-south. Willie Gay had a little more east-west in him. But yeah, Leo Chenal to me, wow, what a performance.
Good deal. All right, Price, what about you?
I'm going to give mine to Rashee Rice. 7 catches on 107 yards. He was the elbow grease to this offense tonight. Isaiah Pacheco had some really gritty runs that I thought were hard-earned and really kind of established some physicality in the second half. But Rashee Rice was just automatic and really helped move the ball down the field. And also, remember like over a year ago when we were worried about him having drop issues in preseason? Mahomes is zipping that ball into those RPOs across the field, and his hands are glue. Really love what I've seen from him. Really encouraging sign. He was a key part of the offense tonight in a night when you didn't really get much from anyone else. So Arrowhead goes to Rashee Rice.
All right, I'm going to give out a couple, and I agree with Rice, obviously. I'm going to go real deep here, and I'm going to give one to Najee Johnson for his tackle on that last special teams play to force the Ravens to go a long way. Chiefs needed that. It was a great punt by Ariza too, but that was just a great job by him. Look, I got to give one to Xavier Worthy. I mean, first NFL game, they trust you. They trust you to run routes. It wasn't just gadget stuff. And he went out there and made some things happen. And it sounds like, and we got to see the all 22, but it sounds like he was open on another play that Mahomes didn't see him. They mentioned that on the broadcast. So he was a big X factor for the Chiefs in this one. And then look, man, I got to give two more. Chris Jones, strip sack, sees a rookie tackle, gets in there, just humiliates him, makes a play. That was huge, impactful, led points for the Chiefs. And then Patrick Mahomes. I know it's redundant. You know, he just gets one no matter what, but like 20 of 28, 291, 10.4 average, touchdown. Did have a bad pick. It was a bad decision, but I mean, for goodness sake, man, he was throwing darts all over the field. Probably should have had two more touchdowns, two more touchdown passes in this game, over 300 yards passing against a really stout defense. So he continues to be the best player in the NFL, and that's good news for the 1-0 best record at the NFL, Kansas City Chiefs.
Also the cleats. Whoever made the cleats, whoever made the cleats just a little too long, they should have cut those cleats off for Isaiah Likely.
Right?
Yeah,
like if those cleats.
If Likely was a size 9 or size 10, like the Ravens are probably winning. Right?
Dog,
like
he's probably a size 12. I mean,
he's
like
crazy.
6'7". He's probably, those bad boys are probably 15s.
I tell you what, like, ask your doctor if your heart is healthy enough for Chiefs football. I forgot what it was like. At first, I started like sitting in the couch in my living room, Like I like started standing, getting closer to the TV, and then I found my spot. Found the spot. Like, this is where I watch the playoff games. This is my standing spot. Hands on the hips. Big third down here. Like, I was all the way back. Big vibe. So it was just great to have Chiefs football back in. Victory, of course.
And now we get the best thing about these Thursday night openers when they win is it's sit back and relax, baby.
Oh, Scott Hansen, take me to heaven on Sunday, baby.
Right? Saturday,
Hey,
college
before we
football.
go,
Yeah.
Before we go, one small thing, one tiny thing. Didn't play a massive amount. FAU showed at least something. FAU at least made a couple of plays. We're on FAU watch almost every week now just to see what he's going to look like before Charles Minute, who comes back. And we at least saw something there. So I will give a little hat tip to Felix.
Gritty. Yeah. And hey, Kingsley Suamataia too. Like, you're a rookie left tackle, and I thought Collinsworth did a nice job for once, pointing out that they weren't really helping him a whole lot. Like, he was kind of a man on his own. And Odafe Owe has never really put it all together to become the first round pick that he was, but he is long and bendy and super physical, like those Penn State edge rushers always are. And he held his own. So shout out to him. This is a great start point. If this is your week one, the only direction is up.
And one last thing before we go, we're doing a giveaway. So if you stayed this long and you're in Kansas City, you've got a chance to head on Saturday to the friendly between the U.S. men's national team and Canada. Sterling's going to be there. I'm giving away, we're giving away 2 tickets to our podcast listeners, 2 tickets to the people who follow me on Twitter. So if you want to enter, all you have to do is follow me on Twitter. I'm at @RPatrickAllen. It's pinned to the top of my Twitter. Just retweet the giveaway tweet. That's all you got to do. Retweet it and be following me so I can DM you if you win. 2 tickets, great seats. Get to go cheer on Team USA against those pesky Canadians up north. They're sorry. Great opportunity. So, and if you can't, if you don't win the tickets, you should go anyway. And like I said, you might meet a celebrity while you're there, and you may also see Sterling. So it's the best of both worlds.
You're going to see me wearing a lot of American outfits. It's going to be red, white, and blue pants. It's going to be red, white, and blue shirt, hat, all of it. I will be a few adult beverages deep, and I will be screaming for Team USA to beat the Canadians. So if you want to enjoy that, you better do this.
This is pretty humorous. The Baltimore Ravens Twitter account at 10:53 tweeted touchdown. Oh my God, with like 1 million exclamation points. Tune in now on NBC. And it's the Isaiah Likely play. It is still up. We are live at 11:51 p.m. and it is still up. The social media team is taking a while to take that one down.
You have a teenager running your social media account. Yeah. OMG, touchdown. All right, no more dunking on the Ravens for now.
Is Lamar Jackson running their Twitter account? Or
Yeah, he still believes. Yeah, he's still believing.
All right, the Chiefs win, a great win, and now you can enjoy your weekend stress-free for the next 10 days. The Chiefs are undefeated in the NFL, and the three-peat is underway. For Price Carter, for Sterling Holmes, for Adam Best, Matt Connor, who were in the halftime and pregame shows, for producer Richard, who kept this thing going all night long. Thank you so much. Thank you to our members. We'll see you guys next week with our regular slate of shows. But until then, as always, go Chiefs.